I thought the footsteps were coming from the apartment above me. That was the first thing I told myself. The problem was, I lived on the top floor. At first, it only happened at night. Around 2 a.m., I'd hear slow footsteps moving across my living room. Not running, not pacing, just walking, slow, heavy, like someone trying not to be heard. The first night, I ignored it. Old buildings make noise all the time, right? The second night, it happened again. Same time, same footsteps. I got out of bed and checked the apartment. Nothing. The living room was empty. Kitchen empty. Bathroom empty. Windows locked. Front door locked. I even checked the hallway outside my apartment. Nothing. That should have made me feel better. It didn't. Over the next week, the sounds got worse. Sometimes I'd hear cabinets opening in the kitchen. One night, I heard something metal hit the floor. Another night, I woke up because I could swear someone whispered outside my bedroom. I started sleeping with my lights on. I barely got any sleep after that. One morning, I noticed my TV remote was on the kitchen counter. I always leave it beside my bed. I thought maybe I moved it and forgot. Then it happened again. My bathroom towel was missing. I found it folded neatly on the dining table. That's when I started getting nervous. I asked my neighbors if they'd heard anything strange at night. One of them laughed and said the building walls were thin. The other one looked confused and said he never heard anything. Then he asked me something that made my stomach drop. He said, "Wait, aren't you the only person on the top floor?" After that, I bought a cheap security camera online. I pointed it toward my living room and left it recording overnight. That night, I barely slept. 2:13 a.m. The footsteps started again. Slow, heavy, walking across the apartment. I stayed frozen in bed, staring at my bedroom door while listening to them move closer. Then they stopped. Right outside my room. I held my breath. For almost an entire minute, there was complete silence. Then, 3 knocks, soft, right on my bedroom door. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. Eventually, the footsteps walked away. The next morning, I checked the camera footage. At first, everything looked normal. Empty living room, dark hallway, nothing moving. Then at exactly 2:13 a.m., the camera glitched for a second. Just 1 second. When the video came back, my hallway closet door was open. I know for a fact it was closed before I went to sleep. I watched the footage again and again, but I never actually saw the door open. It was closed 1 frame and open the next. I told myself someone was messing with me. Maybe the landlord had access to the apartment. So I called him. He sounded annoyed more than concerned. But then I mentioned the hallway closet. There was a long pause on the phone. Then he asked, "You never opened that closet before?" I said no. Another pause. Then he told me something he probably shouldn't have. Years ago, the building used to be a hotel. During renovations, some of the old maintenance spaces were sealed off. Apparently, behind a few closets in the building, there were still narrow service hallways connecting parts of the floor. I felt sick instantly. The moment I hung up, I walked to the hallway closet. I don't even know why. Part of me wanted proof I was imagining things. The other part already knew I wasn't. Inside the closet, behind a stack of old shelves, I noticed scratches along the wall. Fresh scratches, like something had been moved recently. My hands were shaking while I pushed the shelves aside. Behind them was a small metal door I'd never noticed before. It was slightly open, just enough to see darkness behind it. And the smell, it smelled damp, rotten. I used my phone flashlight and looked inside. There was a narrow passage behind the wall, just big enough for a person to crawl through. I backed away immediately and called the police. They arrived about 20 minutes later. 2 officers searched the passage with flashlights, while I waited outside the apartment. I'll never forget the expression on one officer's face when he came back out. He looked disturbed. He asked me if I lived alone. I said yes. Then he held up a small notebook. Inside were dozens of pages filled with writing about me. What time I came home, when I slept, what I ordered for food, what shows I watched. There were even sketches of my apartment. Then the officer showed me the last page. It only had 1 sentence written on it. "Tonight I finally say hello." I moved out the next morning. But the worst part wasn't the hidden hallway. It wasn't the footsteps. It wasn't even the notebook. It was what the police found near the end of the passage. A mattress, empty food cans, water bottles, and hundreds of photos of me sleeping.